everyone, this is Squirrely Girly. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm really sorry that I wasn't able to make a video in a long time, like several months. Life's just been really crazy for me. I worked 2 jobs and I had a lot of life responsibilities going on. So anyway, the time just got away from me, so I apologize for that. But I do have a very important topic that I want to discuss today regarding moon lovers. Before I get into the video, please like and subscribe and hopefully ring that bell if you want to have more notifications when I post videos. But the video that I'm making today, or at least the topic of this video I'm talking about today, is the fact that there's been this expectation in the fandom that there needs to be 100% of the original cast returning for a season 2 in order for that to happen. And I'm here to basically give a little bit of a wake-up call or a reality check in a very nice way, as nicely as I can put it, because I realized that everyone loved the cast for this show, including myself. But I just needed to discuss on why that actually is a super unrealistic expectation to have if you want moon lovers to happen. So first things first, I'm going to divide this up into a few different sections. But let's talk about the most obvious one first, which is the scandal. And I have to talk about this because it caused quite a controversy in the fandom. And of course, I'm referring to what happened with Jisoo. I don't want to get into too much of the details because it's kind of complicated and a very sensitive issue for many fans. But basically, he was involved with a lot of school violence when he was younger. And it was really a very devastating thing for the fans to learn about, and I know that it is somewhat true since Jisoo apologized for his behavior and said that it was like unforgivable and stuff like that, and he basically apologized that he hurt some people in his past. So I know that it is somewhat true that I know that the person who was accusing him of all these horrible things that he's done in school did lie about a few things, like the sexual accusations. Like they said that he did a lot of weird sexual acts with people when he was younger. I don't know. I don't know all the details, but apparently that ended up not being true. So that's a good thing. I'm glad that ended up not being true. However, there's still some parts of the story that were true in regards to some of the stuff that he did when he was younger, which he apologized for. But unfortunately, his apology wasn't enough, and they ended up firing him from the drama that he was currently in, which was, I think, River Where the Moon Rises or something. And he was, like, replaced, which was too bad. But anyway, and then I think he left his agency, or his agency fired him. I don't know all the details, but it was just kind of ugly. And this individual who made all these accusations and all this, all the press and media that this scandal got really destroyed Jisoo's image and a lot of his career. And right now it's uncertain what his career is going to be like in the future. But I do think as a minimum that it's going to take him quite a while in order to get his career back on track. So we'll just have to see in the meantime what happens, but it's probably not going to be for many years before he is able to make it back into the film industry. That's just my guess, but it's just not looking too good for him right now, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But that is one of the main reasons why I know not the entire cast can return, because I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't want Jisoo returning right now just because it's just been too recent that his scandal has happened. Alright, so moving on, we're going to be talking about the next topic, which will make this a very unrealistic case for the entire cast to return, which is, of course, scheduling. Now, this is probably the biggest reason why that it's not going to happen with, or at least with the entire cast coming back. And that is because the cast members have gotten so much more famous, and I'm mainly referring to like the supporting cast. I know that the main cast was already pretty big, but a lot of the supporting cast now has made it really big, and they have all these other projects now, and the demand for them to be in these other dramas is really high. So their schedules are all over the place, all over the map now, and it would be very, very difficult to line up everybody's schedules. So that is one of the main reasons why that would be extremely hard to make that happen. And Lee Jun-gi has actually mentioned this in one of his live streams before on Instagram in an interview, and he and IU, when they were talking on his Naver Now live stream on his birthday, also hinted that the director of Moon Lovers also has said this before, that it'd be just too difficult to do a season 2 if the requirement was to have 100% of the original cast to return. It would just be really difficult to make that happen. So I just had to make that pretty clear. And I also think that Nam Joo-hyuk, I hope I said that right, we don't really know exactly what he's going to be up to, because I don't think he's even been enlisted in the military yet, whereas a lot of the others have, or already have been, or currently, but he has yet to enlist, I believe. But that being said, I also want to mention that both Jisoo and Baekhyun have already enlisted in the military, so they are going to be out for 2 years, and so they definitely wouldn't be able to return for a season 2. I think people need to understand that even if we were to wait 2 years, let's say, for them to come back from the military to do a season 2, I think that it also needs to be mentioned that we need to take into account that Lee Jun-gi, who plays Wang So, is getting older as time goes on, and although he looks extremely good for his age, like he looks still very young, eventually age does catch up with everybody, so we can't just all be waiting forever for everyone to finish all these other requirements, because in the meantime Lee Jun-gi is getting older day by day, and so it'd be better to do the show sooner rather than later. So that's another reason why I don't think that 100% of the cast could come back, especially since if they're going to do it, they'd have to do it in the next couple of years so that Lee Jun-gi doesn't age too much, so that he's still able to play the role. Also, I do want to point out that this isn't necessarily a scheduling thing. This is more of a singular problem, but another reason why they couldn't have 100% of the cast come back or have them be a part is because the actor who played that played King Taejo, which is Jo Min-ki, he actually committed suicide a couple years back, and it was pretty tragic. And it was actually kind of surrounding a little bit of a scandal too. But anyway, I don't know all the details of that, but anyway, he definitely could not return for a season 2, considering that he's no longer with us. So anyway, on that sub note, I guess I'll be going on to the next point that I want to bring up. The next topic is going to be cost. Now, this kind of is going along the lines of what I said before about the supporting actors being super successful ever since the first season aired. Basically, because of their recent stardom and because they're so popular now and they're being booked for a lot of other projects, now that they're in a much higher demand, they're going to have to be paid a lot more now, because they're no longer just a supporting actor. They are going to be lead actors, and they're not going to be wanting to play only small, minor supporting roles anymore. So, if the broadcasting company or the producers, if they wanted them to come back, they would have to be paying mega bucks for all of these cast members to return. And I just don't think that they're going to be wanting to pay full price for every single actor to come back. Normally with Korean dramas or just any kind of movie, or TV show around the world, normally the majority of the budget or pay that goes into the actors is with the main leads. And because obviously someone who's a lot more experienced and well-known and is more in demand is going to be paid a lot more than just supporting actors who are just sort of there in the background filling a background role, or just isn't part of the main plot nearly as much as the ones who are carrying the majority of the story, which are the leads. So that's a very unrealistic hope for people to want everyone to come back, because realistically speaking, the producers could not pay that much money for that many actors to come back, because that would just be super expensive, and they're going to want to put their money towards the main leads and not just have everybody be paid the same amount as the leads if they are not playing as big of a part. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up to everyone's attention so that everyone's informed and understands the reality of that situation. All right, so moving on to my next point, and my last point that I really want to bring up is time. And I guess this is more of my own opinion, but I still think that this will be part of the reason why I think that 100% of the cast wouldn't be able to return. But if you think about it, it would just be kind of a waste of time to have everyone come back, because the story needs to move forward and not just be the same as it always has been. You got to keep it fresh and new, keep the audience guessing, introduce new drama, new conflicts, new characters. And I think it would waste a lot of time if we were to basically rehash all these other extra side story points with all these other characters. And really, I think what the audience would really want to see is we mainly want to see how Haesu, modern day, or just Go Ha-jin is her modern day name, and how modern day Wong-so would actually meet up again and fall in love again. And we just don't have a lot of time to be spending with all these other side characters. Plus, I think that another reason why it'd be good for not the entire original cast to come back is there are some new characters that would be really good in the modern day to learn a lot about. And what I mean by that is it would be great to learn about Haesu / Go Ha-jin's modern day family, since we never really get to learn anything about her family before she went to Goryeo. So I think that would be a good place to spend a lot of its story time, is developing more of her past and her family life, instead of just rehashing a plot with characters we've already seen before. Plus, it just kind of keeps us guessing, and I think it'd be really fun to see how creative the writers can get without 100% of the characters back. I'd really like to see new conflicts and new characters and see how they're able to come back together and be with each other again forever this time. All right, so those are my main points that I wanted to point out. So hopefully I was clear about them. If you guys have any questions, please leave a comment in my comment section below. Anyway, but as a final word, I just want to say that if the fandom still has this expectation that 100% of the original actors must come back for Moonlover Season 2, then they need to understand that if those are the conditions, then they have to be prepared to realize then that there will never be a Season 2. That's just the reality of it, because based on everything that I mentioned, it's just it would be impossible to have 100% of the original cast to come back. And to be honest, I think Lee Joon-gi and IU are the only two actors that we really need to have come back to make the Season 2 work. And I think if the writers were really creative with it, it could really work and it would really be something special. Now that being said, I still think that they probably could get a couple extra original cast members to come back. I just don't personally believe they could get 100% of the original cast to come back. I know that might be upsetting to a lot of people, but it's just the reality that we need to accept. And I really hope that we put our energy into still hoping that they make a Season 2, and maybe plugging the idea to the producers and the directors that, hey, we want Season 2, but we don't expect you to have 100% of the cast come back. We're okay with just the two main leads, which is Lee Joon-gi and IU, because realistically, that would be the only way we could ever get a Season 2. And that's what we want. And to be honest, at the end of the day, it's their story. It is Haesu and Wong-so's story. They are the moon lovers in the story. And that's what we want. That's what we're paying for. That's what we want to see. And although those other plot lines were interesting, you know, at the end of the day, it's their story. And those are the two people that we need to have return. And it would be fine if those are the only two that could return. I think the season could still hold up just fine, and it would be really awesome. So if we could give that idea to the directors and producers, then maybe that would also make our chances of a Season 2 a lot more likely. So anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you leave a like. Hope you leave a comment. And I will be getting that other video out hopefully soon. I can't really make any promises due to my current schedule right now because I'm just super busy, but I'm working on it hard and it's going to be really fun and I can't wait for you guys to see it. If you have any more questions, leave a comment and I'll see you guys later. Thanks. Bye.